Drona Parva is the seventh Parva from among the 18 Parvas of Mahabharata. It consists of 8 sub-Parvas. This Parva starts with the defeat of Bhishma in the Battle of Kurukshetra and with the taking over of the command of the entire Kuru army by Dronacharya. A major part of his episode deals with the narration of the battle. In this Parva, there are descriptions about most of the great warriors and their end while fighting in the battle at Kurukshetra. Dronacharya was the guru of the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and he had trained all the Pandava and the Kuru princes with the art of warfare. Drona was indebted to the kingdom of Hastinapur for all the help it provided to him and his family, and therefore he was bound to fight for the king Dhritarashtra, even if he knew that the Pandavas were in the right path. After the defeat of their grandsire Bhishma, the command of the Kuru army was bestowed upon Dronacharya by Duryodhana. This decision was made to ensure that the Kuru army would have a leader of great skill and wisdom. Drona was a great warrior, and he was an expert in the use of all the weapons. His mastery over archery, swordsmanship, and other martial arts was unparalleled. He had the blessing of defeating his opponents single-handedly. His prowess in battle was legendary, and his presence on the battlefield was enough to instill fear in the hearts of his enemies. Under his command, the huge army of the Kauravas regained their courage and strength, which was degraded to some extent after the defeat of Bhishma. Drona's leadership brought a renewed sense of hope and determination among the soldiers. Dronacharya killed thousands of soldiers and generals from the side of the Pandavas. His relentless attacks and strategic maneuvers caused significant losses to the Pandava army. He had, however, made a promise to kidnap the eldest Pandava, Yudhishthir, in order to let the Kauravas win the battle. This promise was a crucial part of his strategy to turn the tide of the war in favor of the Kauravas. Thus, he worked out a battle plan, and it was called Chakravyuha. This complex formation was designed to trap and isolate key warriors of the Pandavas. The knowledge of that form of battle was only known to Arjuna, and therefore Arjuna was carried away by some Kuru generals far away from the Pandavas by tempting him for a solo fight. This was a cunning strategy to ensure that Arjuna, the most formidable warrior of the Pandavas, was not present to break the formation. While Arjuna was away, the Pandavas, unknown about the Chakravyuha, were helpless, and at that time Arjuna's son Abhimanyu came forward and told that he had some idea about that form of the battle, and thus took leave from Yudhishthir to fight against the Kauravas. Abhimanyu's bravery and willingness to face the challenge gave the Pandavas a glimmer of hope in a dire situation. While Arjuna was away fighting with 2 Kuru generals, the 4 Pandavas were unaware of the plot constructed in the battle by Dronacharya. Dronacharya implemented the Chakravyuha, a form of warfare, in order to arrest Yudhishthir. By that time, Abhimanyu came to the eldest Pandava and told him that he was able to break the defense formed by the Kuru general, and thus took leave from Yudhishthir and went away. Abhimanyu was a great warrior, and he fought very bravely, and was able to break the defense of the Kuru army, and was able to get to the center of the force. There he was surrounded by 7 great warriors of the Kurus, which also included Duryodhana, Dushasana, Karna, and Jayadratha, king of Sindhu. Abhimanyu fought very bravely with the 7 warriors, and was successful in giving them severe wounds. However, at last, the 7 warriors, forgetting all the rules and regulations of warfare, surrounded him from all sides and killed him mercilessly in the battlefield. Jayadratha Badha. Jayadratha was the husband of the only sister of Duryodhana, the infamous antagonist of the Mahabharata. He was also the person who insulted Draupadi, the wife of the Pandavas, when they were in exile in the forest, adding to their woes. In the great battle at Kurukshetra, Jayadratha fought valiantly on the side of Duryodhana, and was the main person responsible for the tragic slaying of Abhimanyu, the young and brave son of Arjuna. After the untimely death of Abhimanyu, the atmosphere in the camp of the Pandavas became utterly melancholic, filled with grief and sorrow. When Arjuna returned from the battle, he was devastated to learn of his beloved son's death. He heard how his son fought very bravely, displaying immense courage and valor on the battlefield, and how he was slain mercilessly by the 7 warriors, who attacked him together, with Jayadratha being the one who led this brutal and cowardly attack. Thus, Arjuna, filled with rage and sorrow, promised to kill Jayadratha the next day in the battle, and if he would not be able to kill him before the sun sets, he vowed to sacrifice himself in fire. This vow added a dramatic tension to the already intense battle. The next day, with the rising sun, the battle began with renewed ferocity, and as per the instructions of Duryodhana, Jayadratha was heavily protected by all the Kurus, forming a tight defensive formation. However, Arjuna, driven by his vow and the memory of his son, succeeded in breaking through the defense of the Kauravas and killed Jayadratha, fulfilling his promise. Ghatotkacha Vada. Ghatotkacha was the son of Bhima and Hidimbi. When Ghatotkacha learned about the great battle at Kurukshetra, he took leave from his mother to take part in the battle on the side of the Pandavas. When Ghatotkacha reached the Pandava camp, the Pandavas were delighted to find a fierce warrior on their side. With the son of Bhima in the battle, the vast Kaurava armies were unable to proceed further due to severe obstructions from Ghatotkacha, who used his magical powers in the warfare. He grew very tall and used to kill the soldiers by the hundreds by crushing them under his feet. Seeing the helpless condition of their army, Duryodhana persuaded his friend Karna to kill the son of Bhima. Karna fought with Ghatotkacha very bravely and killed him with the aid of a celestial weapon, which he had preserved to kill Arjuna. Dronavadha. The most vital part of the Drona Parva is, however, the way in which Dronacharya was killed in the great battle at Kurukshetra. This event marked a significant turning point in the epic war. Dronacharya was blessed to defeat any foe single-handedly, and he did so by slaying thousands and thousands of Pandava soldiers and generals in the battle. His prowess on the battlefield was unmatched, and his presence struck fear into the hearts of his enemies. He had all the celestial weapons in his possession, and thus was considered to be invincible. These divine weapons gave him an edge that no ordinary warrior could counter. The Pandavas, after removing Bhishma from the battle, were then in deep trouble in finding a way to defeat Drona. His strategic mind and combat skills made him a formidable opponent. The Pandavas came to know that as long as Ashvathaman, the son of Drona, lived, it would never be possible to conquer Drona, since the love and hope for his son were sufficient to keep him filled with courage and energy. This bond between father and son was the key to Drona's strength. Bhima, therefore, for the defeat of Drona, selected an elephant named Ashvathaman and slew it with his own hands. This act was a strategic move to weaken Drona's resolve. He then threw himself before the Kuru army and shouted that he had killed Ashvathaman. His declaration was meant to deceive Drona and break his spirit. Hearing the news of his son's death, Drona at once came to Yudhisthira to ask him the truth. The confrontation was intense, as Drona sought confirmation from the most truthful Pandava. Yudhisthira also consented to what was told by Bhima, but slowly added that the elephant named Ashvathaman was killed, which was not heard by Drona. This half-truth played a crucial role in the unfolding events. Thus, Drona gave up all his weapons and sat in meditation on the ground. He was overwhelmed by grief and the perceived loss of his son. At that time, Drishtadyumna, the commander of the Pandava army, chopped the head of Drona with his sword. This act marked the end of one of the greatest warriors in the Mahabharata, altering the course of the war. The Drona Parva thus ends with the death of a number of great warriors, including Abhimanyu, Ghatotkacha, and finally, the death of Dronacharya. This seventh Parva of the great epic of Mahabharata thus narrates very minutely and clearly all the incidents relating to Dronacharya becoming the general of the Kuru army after the defeat of Bhishma and his subsequent death in the battle at the hands of Drishtadyumna, the son of Drupada. Hope you like this video. To watch the full playlist of Mahabharata, do visit our channel. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe because we deliver the best quality Hindu mythological stories.